Hello, dear friend. Tonight, I invite you to find a comfortable spot, perhaps nestled under a cozy blanket or settled into a favorite chair. Let your eyelids grow heavy and your breathing become slow and calm. This is a moment just for you to drift gently toward rest as I share with you the quiet, curious world of medieval sleep. In this softly lit age, beneath thatched roofs and beneath velvety blackout skies, people in medieval towns and castles practiced sleep in ways that may seem unusual today. They divided the night into two gentle passages, whispered rituals of rest, and quiet routines born from necessity, climate, culture, and sometimes whimsy. We'll travel slowly tonight, deep into the hush of medieval cottages, the candlelit stillness of monastic chambers, even the silent corridors of stone castles. We'll uncover customs like the first sleep and second sleep, the delicate art of layering bedtime medications derived from plants, the use of warming bricks and linen wrappings, and the careful ways they watched the moon's phases to guide their rest. There's no hurry in this story. Tonight's tale is measured in slow steps, as soft as the rustle of robes on stone floors, as tender as a lullaby sung by a hearth fire. Let each word ease your mind, each description weave you deeper into sleep's embrace. So let your breath become even, close the day behind you, and let us slip into medieval slumber together. Close your eyes if you wish, and let the edges of your vision soften. Imagine a medieval village at dusk, bathed in the soft glow of fading light. Smoke rises gently from stone chimneys, drifting into the cooling air. Wooden shutters are drawn across small windows as families prepare for the night ahead. There is a soothing stillness, a hushed lull that gathers as day yields to evening. In these long-ago times, the night was not simply a span of uninterrupted rest. It was experienced in two quiet chapters, two gentle passages of slumber, separated by a calm, reflective pause. This pattern, once the rhythm of everyday life, allowed each person to rest deeply, wake softly, and then rest again, creating a night that felt whole, spacious, and imbued with recess and reflection. Our journey begins as the hearth fires dim. After the evening meal, the household moves as if in slow motion. Hands brush bowls clean. Benches scrape softly across stone floors. Children are coaxed into simple bed spots, straw mattresses on the floor, or shared wooden frames if the family has a bit more means. The grown-ups climb into heavier beds, layered with linen and wool. A mother might tuck a sachet of dried herbs beneath her pillow, while the father places a warmed brick near his feet practices to encourage comfort and chase away nighttime chill. The candlelight scarce and precious grows dim as fatigue seeps in. A hush settles like a blanket over the household. This is the moment of the first sleep. From roughly 2 to 4 hours after nightfall, villagers drift deeply into this first sleep. In families across Europe, this was the natural arc of the night. Hearths were banked low, but embers glowed steadily. The air smelled of wood smoke, warmed clay, flickering oil from rushlights. All breathing slowed, heart still, eyes lost focus. In this darkness, the body surrendered to rest. There were no clocks to mark hours, no ticking instruments to measure time. Instead, people attuned themselves to natural rhythms. The dwindling warmth from embers, the hush of night, the faint light beyond shutters. They followed the quiet scaffold of their internal clocks, allowing their bodies to choose the moment of stillness. This was their first sleep. Evidence of this pattern survives in medieval diaries, plays, and even legal documents. Casual references to a first sleep, second sleep, and the wakeful interval that bridge them. Terms like primo sonno in Italy, premier sonno in France, or concubia nocte in Latin appear regularly. Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales and dozens of other literary works reference characters waking from first sleep, only to return later to second rest. This historical evidence, traced particularly by historian Roger Eckertsch, shows that biphasic sleep was not an occasional anomaly, but a deep and enduring tradition. Around the midpoint of the night, somewhere between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. by modern reckoning, the household stirs. Not abruptly, but gently. A blanket shifts. A bricked bed warmer's residual heat chases away the last chill. A distant owl calls. Someone stirs and wakes. Bodies stretch just enough to spark alertness. And yet, this awakening is not jarring. It is calm, accepted, part of the night's natural unfolding. Some rise slowly from bed, setting aside pillows and linens. They might shuffle toward the hearth to relight embers, coaxing warmth back into the room. The fire's amber glow reveals gentle faces. Eyes adjust. Silhouettes become visible again. This is a time of hushed activity, not a return to day, but a stillness awake. The midnight hush offers possibilities. A time to pray, to ponder one's dreams, to soothe a sick child, to sip warm tea of chamomile or lemon balm, or even to speak softly with a loved one. Accounts from the era mention monks reciting brief prayers in cloistered silence, parents washing a child's fevered brow, lovers exchanging whispered words beneath blankets tender, intimate, low in intensity. Often, this phase, sometimes called the watch or dorveil in medieval French, lasted an hour or two. People would rise purposefully, yet quietly. The eldest might fetch more wood. A parent might check on children or assess the household's security, ensuring doors were latched. Hearths were low enough not to smolder dangerously. Others might simply remain sitting quietly, breathing in the deep night. All activity was soft and measured, fitting the stillness rather than chasing it. Sometimes conversation unfolded, not in the high tones of day, but in hushed, reflective whispers. Folks might exchange stories remembered from the day, revisit a line from scripture, reflect on a dream, or gently assure one another of care. This communal intimacy held no drama, no excitement, just the simple weight of words shared in darkness. Occasionally, the gap between sleeps became a moment for healing. A caretaker might soothe a feverish child with a cool cloth to the forehead, offering quiet comfort as the child drifted between sleep and wake. An ailing parent might gently massage warm balm into aching temples. Herbal teas, chamomile, mint, valerian root, these elixirs, brewed with kindness, were given with care in the glow of candlelight. The air was scented with calm reassurance, each sip a soft vow of rest. Many found the watch restful, even restorative. Without modern anxieties, there was no dread at waking in the night, no frantic checking of the clock. The night structure allowed wakefulness to be natural, scheduled, accepted. It felt whole. Gradually, the household allowed itself to drift again. Exhaustion returned. The fire's embers winked out. Candles were spent. Warmth pooled beneath blankets. The mind's quiet stillness beckoned deeper sleep. In the absence of artificial lighting and mechanical timekeepers, this second descent into slumber came easily, bodies easing back into rest without resistance or worry. This was the second sleep, another span of 3 to 4 hours that carried sleepers gently into dawn. In monasteries and noble halls alike, this second sleep was critical, preparing bodies for the coming day. Children nestled close to their mothers. Farmers lay side by side on shared benches, and lords and ladies returned under canopy bed hangings to finish the night's sleep. All rested again in this slow, undisturbed space. Medieval society held no stigma around segmented sleep. It was not insomnia, not restlessness, not a problem to solve. It simply was. People expected it. They accommodated it. They lived within its measured frame. Roger Eckertch's research uncovered over 500 references to first and second sleep in textual evidence, ranging from ancient classical sources through medieval records, and chronicled how this pattern persisted until the industrial era. When electric lighting and rigid work schedules emerged, our sleep patterns shifted, compressing night into one continuous block, obscuring the beauty and depth of segmented harmony. As dawn approaches, the second sleep eases off. Light begins to filter through small windows or under shutters. A hen crows softly. A parent stirs next to a child. The day begins when it will. There is no urgency. Rising is gentle, unhurried. People dress, wash, gather around the hearth for breakfast. The world transitions into activity, but the magic of the night lingers. Listeners of this story might feel it still. That soft pause between sleeps, that tender interval when darkness and light held their own tranquil balance. If you are listening now, as you drift toward rest, allow yourself to enter this pattern too. Let the first sleep claim you. Let dreams and deep rest take hold. If you wake, allow wakefulness to be part of your night. No worries, no pushing. Just observe, breathe in the quiet. Return to slumber when your body calls you softly back. Here, in the hush, your mind can wander without pressure. Your heart can rest without trial. You are safe. You are held. You are within timeless rhythms that once cradled countless souls through centuries. And so, in this medieval slow night, we find a lesson, a gentle reminder that our rest need not be uniform to be peaceful. We can lean into the natural flow of sleep's twofold embrace. We can honor rest's intervals without fear. We can trust that the darkness holds space for both dream and wake, for work of tending and healing, for prayer and memory. Rest now, friend. Drift. Breathe. Embrace each part of sleep's delicate architecture, as our medieval forebears did. Drift deeper. And when the next chapter of your rest arrives, whether it stretches long or returns softly, trust that your body and mind are moving with ancient intelligence, shaped by eons of human nights. Close your eyes gently and let the world fade as we drift into the soft embrace of a medieval night. Picture a quiet countryside cottage, nestled in drowsy shadow, its rough-hewn beams and muted tones bathed in a glow of flickering candlelight. The day's chores have concluded, and the hearthbrick hum still lingers, radiating a gentle warmth that seeps through the wooden floorboards. In that calm hush, nightly rituals begin, tenderly unfolding in the dim lamplight. The subtle art of preparing the body and the space for rest. First, consider the humble nightcap. Not a whimsical accessory, but a valued comfort against the cold that seeped from unplastered walls or stone floors. Such caps, often woolen or linen, were gently placed within reach, ready to be drawn over hair the moment the first slumber touched the eyes. Keeping the scalp warm was thought essential, not only to soothe the ears, which might ring in a chill, but also to shield the sleeper from imagined night airs that could stir illness. This simple act of donning the cap became a signal to the body. Now you rest. While the nightcap warmed the head, down below small sachets of herbs were nestled near pillows or tucked into corners. Lavender, whose gentle scent humans still cherish today, was strewn low, its aroma thought to guide the mind into calm. Rosemary, revered not only for its fragrance, but also for its memory-aiding properties, added a subtle dryness to the atmosphere. Rue, pennyroyal, chamomile, and rosemary all took their place in the soft ritual, as strewing herbs scattered not only across floors, but also beds blanketing the sleeper in layers of plant-scented reassurance. As one drifted between wakefulness and rest, these fragrances crept into the nose, weaving a lullaby without sound. In some corners of medieval Europe, especially among those with access to herbal lore or in monastic settings, valerian root held a quiet, revered position. Known since antiquity, referred to in Greece and Rome as fou or spikenard, its dried root was valued for its ability to soothe nervousness and ease into sleep. Its unmistakable odor, sometimes described as mossy or even stale, was believed to calm both mind and body. In northern peasant cottages, in small apothecaries and cloisters, and sometimes mixed into a pre-bedtime broth, valerian was steeped or burned, its warm vapors drifting through heavy curtains. These same roots would later form the basis of sedative teas and remedies into the 16th century. But even in this simpler age, they offered solace to weary hearts. Beside the bed, stoneware bowls might be filled with warm water, scented with sprigs of fresh herbs, lavender, rosemary, chamomile. A gentle washing followed. Hands, face, the nape of the neck, touched by cloth dipped first in warmth, then in calm. This quiet ablution eased away the grime of the day, and more importantly, signaled to the senses. Here begins your rest. Bodies, soothed by warmth and cleanliness, released tension in that simple ritual. Evening drinks were mild and purposeful, a far cry from our modern late-night indulgences. A sweet brew of chamomile, lemon balm, mint, or rosemary may have been prepared in flame-warmed ceramics. These infusions, sometimes called nightcaps, delivered comfort rather than alcohol, gently coaxing tiredness forward. No sudden drop in blood pressure, only slow-release warmth, a gentle hush. Then come the warming bricks. Imagine heated stones, shaped and smooth, wrapped in linen or wool, carried from the hearth to the bedside, tucked under footboards, laid upon the bedboards beneath matted rushes or straw. They radiated even heat into blankets. In chilly periods, more stones might be added stacked near ankles or shoulders, layering comfort into the sleeping layers. There was no click of a thermostat, but the embodied warmth carried weight, thickness, and a sense of protection. In castles and manor halls, these warmers could be fashioned of metal brass pans filled with embers, their lids perforated, allowed to breathe. These were moved gently beneath bedding before sleep, stirring away the night's chill. Candles were carefully trimmed, low and slow. Rushlights guttered in small boulders. They cast soft halos across tapestries and dark timber, yet extinguishing them too early regulated the rhythm of the night, encouraging sleepers to embrace darkness. The monks, priests, or devout among them might pause just once more to offer prayers at the beginning of the night, psalms read or murmured in candlelight, devotion becoming its own lullaby, then gently gazed toward the threshold of slumber. In the middle of the night, when first sleep gave way to the midnight watch, Some returned to prayer in hushed tones. Some reached again for their herbal potions. But always, the pace of movement was deliberate, unhurried. Between those two sleeps, the middle watch unfolded as a ritual itself. Some might open a small wooden chest and draw out flakes of spikenard or valerian to smell. Others reached for a stone bowl of warm tea to sip, steam rising in curling wisps into the still air. Hands moved over work they could do in bed: embroidery, carding wool, or mending a threadbare sleeve. These were slow, tactile tasks whose rhythm echoed the beating of the sleeper's own heart. Lulling eyes shut once more. These customs reflect a gentle understanding of rest, not a fight, but a flow. There was no rush to vanish into darkness, no anxiety about sleeping through. Instead, sleep was a slow unfolding. First warmth, cleanliness, scent, quiet drink, layered blankets, and gentle fumes. Then the body released, as if sinking into a soft tide. In wealthier households, manor halls, and castles, these comforts were refined, but maintained the same purpose. Linens might be finer and more plentiful, herb blends more elaborate, metals polished for brass warmers. But the ritual remained simple, sensory, and consistent. Even the nobility preserved these bedtime care rituals. Cold stone corridors meant warmth came at a premium. So velvet nightcaps and tapestry cushions meant warming bricks and potted rosemary. Meanwhile, servants stoked the hearth until embers glowed through the night, so that rooms could be refreshed during the watch, if needed. Yet across classes and geographies, these rituals shared an intimacy. Women steeped herbs in vessels behind closed doors. Men twisted cloth over stones. Children nestled under more blankets than daylight required. These spaces were private, yet communal, filled with small scents, slight heat, and muted sense of preparation. It is within these gestures, so small yet so meaningful, that the essence of medieval sleep emerges. Not a segmented endurance or mere absence of waking, but a complete evening ceremony, one of washing, warming, drinking, smelling, whispering. Each was repeated gently in households, in monastic cells, in castle chambers. Each nurtured a sense of ease. A breeze through the straw-strewn floors felt less like a chill and more like the rhythm of night, carried through pillows and hearths alike. For those in cloisters or quiet guilds, the practices had an added layer of discipline. The dormitories might hold brothers or sisters in rows of wooden beds, their feet pointing toward the same aisle. Strewing herbs across the rushes held not only fragrance, but also a measure of cleanliness, freshening the floors and bringing ease to tired feet. A sister or monk might pass softly among beds, adjusting warmers or fluffing straw, before returning to their own place in the quiet row. In the dark of first sleep, the hush was absolute, broken only by the soft rasp of a whispered stanza or the muted creak of a shift. As first sleep deepened, candlelight and warmth carried the sleeper away, and when the body emerged from that state, it did so slowly, naturally, no alarms, no abrupt awakening, but a soft transition, mediated by the feel of linen and wool, by increasing cold at the edges of blankets. In those moments, the world was neither asleep nor fully awake, owned by neither. But the rituals remained: herbs, warmth, small tasks. They carried the sleeper back, and with the return of warmth, the second sleep followed, longer, deeper, untroubled. Today, we think of sleep as linear, one continuous arc. But the medieval night taught something different. Rest is not just the cessation of activity, but a lived experience. Each step, each warmth, each scent, each sip builds a sanctuary. And even in the darkness between sleeps, there is presence. A watchful, mutely soothing vigil. There is music in the hum of straw underfoot, in the steam rising from a teacup, in the ticked hush of hearts in the dark. And each layer breadth of blankets, scent of herbs, weight of heat, becomes part of the bed's lullaby. So as your breathing slows, imagine laying your own head on that pillow of memories. Let your scalp sink into the softness of the nightcap. Breathe in the lavender and rosemary. Drift in the haze of valerian's gentle weight. Feel imagined stones exhaling warmth at your feet. Let your eyes close not only to think, but to sense warmth, scent, texture, ritual. Drift into your first sleep, then rest in the gentle pause between. And then drift further, restored and calm, into the deep second sleep. In this way, the medieval bed offers an invitation to rest not just once, but with ceremony. Not just in body, but in mood. Not just in hours, but in heart. In the hush that settles over stone walls and candle-lit corridors, the medieval night in a castle feels almost sacred. Imagine stepping quietly through a narrow doorway off the great hall into a chamber draped in tapestries. Heavy wool curtains pulled across canopied beds, feather-stuffed mattresses piled atop rope-woven frames. The walls themselves seem to breathe the cool night air. So thick are the stones. Yet inside each chamber, a different world awakens. Servants had already kindled the hearth fire hours earlier, allowing embers to glow pungently against the chill. On 4 poster beds, nobles lay wrapped in layers of wool and fur, their faces serene, breathing slow and deep. Occasionally, the crackle of the fire or a servant's soft tread in the antechamber would mingle with the warm lull of shared slumber. These chambers, though grand, were also intimate. It wasn't uncommon for a lord or lady to sleep with their children or heir curled beside them. The canopy above offered both warmth and quiet, a hushed enclosure. Sometimes a servant slept on a pallet just inches away, keeping a watchful presence as hearth fires dimmed. On long winter nights, medieval families embraced each other for warmth, and a slab of heated brick fresh from the hearth was often tucked beneath blankets to ward off the cold stone floors. One can almost feel the gentle weight of blankets, the hush of breaths in unison, as bodies radiate warmth into the chamber's corners. Moving through the castle to quieter quarters, one enters the heart of hushed devotion, the Cloisters. Here, the air is cooler, the stone more weathered. Cloisters' architectural marvels of calm surround a soft courtyard where a fountain's drip echoes in the night. Above the galleries, dormitories stretch in silence, lit at night by a single lantern. The monks' world was one of pale candlelight and slow ritual. As midnight tolls, they awaken for matins. Their voices, low and measured, weave ancient prayers that thread through arches and arcades. Though brief, this vigil marks a moment between the two sleeps, a time for reflection, an auditory heartbeat in the nocturnal darkness. Then, with candles gently extinguished, they return to their pallets' simple straw mattresses lined with wool, sleeping in habits still on, as per Benedict's rule. Such regulated waking softly, stepping down stone staircases into the church, murmuring between breaths, then sliding back into rest mirrors, the biphasic sleep common in lay society at the time. Privacy was scant in these dormitories. At first, monks slept shoulder to shoulder in open halls, illuminated by brief lanterns that flickered and faded. As time passed, some orders, like certain Cistercian houses, began partitioning spaces into small cubicles or cells. But still, the silent chorus of breathing filled the room. A chosen brother, known as a circator, made nightly rounds ensuring silence and the absence of illicit lights. The weight of worship, exhaustion, and shared humanity folded into the hush of that long hall. Floorboards whispered under hushed steps. Distant fountains murmured beneath arches. The night carried the inhalations of hundreds contained in sacred routine. In castles and cloisters alike, the architecture itself spoke of care and intention. The castle's thick walls and stone floors muted sounds, while tapestries absorbed drips of candlelight and muffled footsteps. In monasteries, the cloister arcs focused acoustics inward, the courtyard proving still and serene. On colder nights, warming rooms just beneath dormitories radiated faint heat upward, while nearby kitchens or warming posts left residual warmth above an unseen comfort in winter's grip. Within the castle environment, communal life stretched into bedrock routines of care. When night deepened, families retreated to private chambers. Here, fires burned low. A mother might brush a child's hair, smoothing each strand with deliberate gentleness. A father might fold his hands in silent benediction, casting wishes of safety over those he loved. Outside, servants closed canopy passages, extinguished lights, and settled upon simple pallets nearby silent guardians of the resting household. Sometimes they slept in corridors or beside arrow slits, a humble vigil in case of disturbance, though most of the time the castle slept, wrapped in a muted burden of stone, wood, and trust. Despite the stone's cold embrace, warmth pervaded. The medieval night in castles wasn't solitary. It was shared. Nobles slept alongside kin and aides. Later, servants might file into a spence, a small antechamber near the lord's bed, and rest in shifts. In wealthier castles, elite servants even slept in their lord's private bedchamber to assist upon waking. In simpler great halls, less fortunate folk guards, grooms, squires, sometimes even peasants during sieges slept on straw mats or hallway benches. Sleep solidity wasn't determined by rank alone, but by proximity to warmth. The great hall, alive with embers and body heat, often became a communal dormitory under the veil of nighttime, its high table pushed aside to reveal pallets beneath the rafters. These settings set the stage for the first and second sleeps. When early night reached its peak, people drifted into deep rest. As the castle quieted, guardsmen relieved at their posts, kitchens simmered down, great halls dimmed, a hush fell over all. And at some moment, between the two sleeps, a candle might be rekindled. A servant might rise to check embers, add wood to the dying fire, or rekindle oil lamps. A lord might wait to adjust covers or stoke the hearth. In monasteries, this was the appointed time for matins. In castles, it was practical, gentle care. When the first sleep ended, the interlude was rarely one of anxiety. It was not filled with drama, but with simple routines, rekindling warmth, stoking fires, tending bodily needs. The night's stillness held a beauty of its own. Family members whispered prayers. A father kissed his forehead. A mother brushed shirt from shoulder. Light strokes of metal spoons stirred warm broth near the hearth. All of this took place in soft darkness. A woman's finger might catch the glow of embers. A servant might pause to listen to a distant owl, each gesture measured, deliberate, hush-bound. Then came the second sleep. In many castles, the canopy closed again above the bed, a soft dusk over dusk. Blankets were redrawn, pillowcases replaced. Candle holders passed silently from hand to hand to extinguish the wick. Everything contained. The world inside returned to darkness. And again, bodies settled into hushed rhythm. Gentle inhalations and exhalations, a castle's breath in unison. The same breathed stillness carried through to the morning watch. As dawn approached, the great doors cracked open to let fresh air in. Innards of the castle warmed. Fires leapt to life again. But until then, the second sleep carried the hush close to its end, leaving hearts anchored in the night's final moments. Monasteries followed a similar rhythm. After matins, the brothers returned, extinguished candles, and lay silent under wool and straw. Some orders, like the Carthusians, slept in individual cells, but most remained together in one large dormitory, wholly companions in night's embrace. In early designs, dormitories were large halls. Over time, they were partitioned by wooden screens, adding a sense of privacy while still honoring communal life. Monks didn't remove their habits to sleep, keeping their robes close, a gesture of humility, readiness, and spiritual discipline. Lanterns dimmed. Beds felt cool beneath their woolen coverings. Hearts beat in prayerful quiet. Across this spectrum, from the warmth of candlelit canopies to the austere hush of monastic dorms, one recognizes the same undercurrent. Sleep is sacred, communal, grounded in rhythm and stone. Not for the spectacle of privilege, but for the necessity of warmth, toggled by centuries of routine. In no space did the medieval night rush. Instead, it trailed and lingered. It paused. It caught its breath. It held its place in the arc of human fragility. Through all of this, the biphasic sleep pattern, first sleep, watch, second sleep, anchored the rhythm. It was not invented in medieval times, but rediscovered by historians as a human response to natural cycles and long winter nights. This pattern shaped behavior. Prayers were whispered in half-darkness. Fires were stoked. Soothing draughts of herbal tea were taken. A water jug might be brought to bed. Blankets were adjusted, drafts checked, faces cooled or warmed as needed. And then rest returned deeper, more present, conversational, with the comfort of routine. Imagine then that you are there within these stone corridors, beneath canopies or dormitory rafters. Hear the faint crackle of embers. Feel the cool weight of woolen blankets and the residual warmth of nearby bodies. Taste the faint tang of candle smoke in the air. Smell the mixture of plaster, wood, and fresh linen. Experience the shift between light and dark, wakefulness and sleep. Notice the silent pulses of life all around you. The drip of water near cloister stones, the soft breathing of fellow sleepers, the distant footsteps of a servant performing their soft watch. Within these silent spaces, medieval people found calm. There was no urgency, no desire to rush to morning, no harsh alarm. They moved to a slower clock one, measured in breath and embers, stone walls and shadowed arches. Their nights were rituals rooted in warmth, communal care, prayer, and the steady human need to rest. Their sleep was not entertainment. It wasn't traumatic. It was human. It was sacred. And through it, they found softness in cold stone, companionship in quiet, and rhythm in the night. Now, as you lie beneath your own covers, sink into that same hush. Let your breath echo the night's rhythm. Let warmth gather around you. Let stone walls of time enfold you. Tonight, your first sleep awaits. When it ends, perhaps a moment of calm may greet you, a bridge between dreams and waking. Then, Your second sleep returns with deeper rest. You are not alone. You are part of a long line of sleepers who found comfort in blankets, embers, stone, and shared humanity. Here, in this moment, may you rest as they did. May your breath deepen. May your heart soften. And when dawn ripples through your curtains, you'll awake slowly and gently, refreshed by the quiet wisdom of medieval nights. Tonight, as you settle under warm blankets and let the day's quiet close around you, imagine a different age, from a distant cottage to a humble inn, from a lordly hall to a lonely traveler's rest. In those centuries between the 5th and 15th, medieval people, rich and poor alike, slumbered not in lonely beds, but in shared spaces, woven closely into a communal web of warmth, breath, and trust. They slept not alone, but together, holding one another through the hush of night. Picture first the cozy interior of a modest peasant cottage. All night long, the hearth's rising embers cast a soft amber glow. The air cools, but bodies huddle close. A single bed, often a pallet of straw or wool placed atop a wooden frame near the hearth, holds a mother, father, perhaps 2 or 3 children, sometimes an apprentice or a servant. The arrangement is precise, age and gender guided where each lay. In Ireland, for instance, mothers and daughters pressed against the warm stone wall, fathers and sons closer to the edge. The youngest nestled near the mother, safe in her holding warmth. The meaning of this communal arrangement was far more than practicality. It was a kinship's embrace, woven nightly into the inmost fibers of homespun blankets. Togetherness wove warmth into every breath. Shared rest was a form of protection against cold drafts, dark fears, and the loneliness of deep night. This privacy we cherish today, in medieval times, was almost unknown. Daily life unfolded in shared spaces, the hall serving as kitchen, parlor, and bedroom. Sleeping beside kin, servants, and sometimes livestock felt natural, complete, even necessary. The cottage bed itself was simple: rough-hewn boards, stuffed mattresses of straw or wool, maybe topped with fragrant bedstraw to ward off fleas and add a gentle scent. Worn blankets were shared from edge to center, ensuring each sleeper received their share of comfort. When travelers arrived, they might join at the foot of the bed or sleep on a nearby pallet. Etiquette was simple: lie still, keep close to your side, share the warmth without stealing blankets. In larger households or castles, the tapestry of communal dynamics grew more intricate. In a great hall, dozens might sleep on benches or rush-strewn floors. For the lord and lady, a curtained bedchamber offered slightly more privacy, but even these held servants and attendants at their feet, providing warmth and tending to fires throughout the night. Nobles slept together in these curtained chambers, not out of propriety alone, but from an absence of our modern notion of privacy. Those curtains were less about shutting out others than keeping warmth close. In a monastery, communal rest also bound the community together. Monks slept in a long dormitory, sometimes on raised wooden platforms, sometimes on simple pallets. Their beds stood side by side. A low fire might burn in the calefactory, but the dormitory itself would be cool. Warmth came from clustered bodies and shared blankets. Wakenings for the midnight vigils were shared vigilantly. Together, these souls moved through cycles of prayer, whispered steps upon cold stone floors, flickering candlelight. Then once more, they returned to the line of low beds, breathing together beneath the dark. On the road, the inn offered a different kind of shelter. An inn's common sleeping area might hold a dozen beds, each often a bundle of shared straw that could hold 2, 3, even 4 people. Travelers, tradesfolk, pilgrims, they came together in this hum of shared presence. Etiquette, passed down in whispered lore, said travelers must lie still, not hog the blankets, keep your counsel, allow others to sleep. But still, snoring happened, blankets were tugged, bodies pressed, no one scolded. Shared slumber was expected, even anticipated. In that shared darkness, whispers often passed. During the lull between first and second sleep, tiny voices might stir guests, greeting one another softly. Confidences shared, or simple connection offered under low candlelight, if any candles remained. This middle watch, this quiet awakening, was a time of gentle communion, unhurried care, sharing space, and sometimes stories. Imagine a weary journeyman, loose wool cloak draped over him, waking to the scent of stale ale, straw, and another sleeper's robe. He sits and stretches, careful not to wake his neighbor. He might speak softly. Water, if anyone has. Another stares and slides from the bed. A child blinks in half-light, searching for a parent's face. Maybe one traveler draws a small flask of sake or spiced ale to soothe cold and hunger, but always softly. No alarms or door slams, just hush and care. In castles, too, strangers might share a chamber during royal progress or military campaigns. Servants, nobility, and visiting dignitaries sometimes bunked near one another, yet distinctions remained. A noble might claim the center, footmen nestled by the hearth. Still, all lay within the same curtain world of breath and blankets, all part of that medieval tapestry. This communal sleeping held practical purposes, but also deeper social meaning. It drew a family together in the night, fostered trust, allowed caregivers, especially mothers, to attend to children easily. It offered elderly kin a final rest near their descendants. It wrapped everyone in a shared vulnerability and quiet intimacy. Long before modern sensibilities prized neat boundaries and sterile rooms, medieval people found belonging in shared warmth. Privacy, suddenly, emerges as an invention, something we often cherish. But in medieval Europe, it was alien. Even marital and sexual intimacy was conducted in communal spaces. Beds served as places for the family, the servants, the traveling stranger. It was assumed that shared beds equaled shared lives. Historians note that for many centuries, people did not consider sleeping private indeed. They preferred it together. Envision then the hush of midnight in a medieval village. Outside, the moonlight bleaches the thatched rooftops. Inside, breath weaves a steady rhythm atop straw mattresses, over feather bedding, through thick tapestries. The warmth from each body joins and spreads. A child's cry is met by a parent's soft rustle, a whispered word. A servant nudges a restless traveler, gently reminding them to stay still. Candlelight, long since dimmed, recedes behind closed shutters, swallowed by the hush of night. And should any wake during the middle watch, they do so in calm, not dread. A cup of water passed, a prayer, a turn for warmth. Then, after minutes or perhaps half an hour, eyelids drift shut again, breath settles. Sleep returns, deep and unhurried. In these scenarios, cottage, castle, cloister, inn, the medieval world reveals itself as tender and layered. Darkness was not lonely, but full of breathing bodies and whispered trust. Sleep was not spent alone in cold silence, but nestled in shared warmth and care. There was no shame in waking near another, no fear in drifting toward dawn with many breaths in the hush. Even in the wealthiest households, servants might sleep outside chambers, stepping in to stir embers or bring fresh water at silent intervals. Even in an anchorite's narrow cell, a garden-grown wanderer or a candle's flicker might keep vigil through the wakeful hour. All bodies were part of shared rhythms: the hearth's flicker, the lantern's dim glow, the soft patter of midnight wind. And what of the night's sweetest lullaby, the rise of warmth in still chests, the gentle stirring of lids, the hush of distant animals returning to rest? It was a chorus of belonging. No one slept truly alone. In the communal slumber of medieval life, safety was in proximity, and peace lay in shared breath. So as you drift tonight, imagine sleep as an act of joining, not just a closing of eyes, but a weaving of souls in the gentle loom of night. Imagine the weight of blankets and bodies, the shared warmth on a blade of breeze. Picture the rhythmic hush of a cottage, the muted shuffle in an inn, the side-by-side breaths in a dormitory. Allow yourself to sink into that gentle intimacy. Let your breath align with those silent rhythms. Allow the soft world of communal rest to ease your heart, where care and warmth are not distant, but shared like a lullaby gathered around a mother's lap. Here, in the hush between first and second sleep, there is no shame in waking, no alarm to startle you, no judgment. Only softness, only breath, only belonging. And in that belonging, you are held by warmth, by trust, by this silent company of rest. Continue with soft breaths. Imagine the hush of that night and the comfort of shared warmth. Let yourself return now to your own blankets, your own pillow, knowing that in the long lineage of sleep, you are not alone. Imagine the twilight in a medieval home, the day's work at an end, and the air turning cool and expectant. In these quiet hours, far from the bustle of market life or the clang of smithies, people began their intimate preparation for sleep, a collection of small, careful gestures meant to usher both body and mind into rest. It begins not with haste, but with slow, purposeful movements. A lone candle flickers on a wooden table, illuminating a small basin of warm water. Nearby, soft linen cloths lie in gentle folds, waiting for the touch of hands that have grown tired from toil. A woman kneels beside the table and dips the cloth into the basin. As she lifts it, droplets of steam rise, fragrant with herbs steeped in the water, lavender perhaps, or rosemary plucked earlier that day from a kitchen garden. Her fingers close around the cloth, warming it before she brushes the soft linen cloth across her child's cheek. The skin gleams faintly in the candlelight. She pauses, inhaling the subtle scent of lavender. Slowly, deliberately, she smooths damp hair away from the child's face, calm settling around them. Near the hearth, a man strokes a growing fire into a gentle glow. He picks up a small brick heated earlier and wrapped in a coarse cloth, now warm to the touch, not hot, but just enough to promise comfort. He brings it toward his feet, slipping it gently into his sleeping cloak. The warmth radiates upward, winding around toes and ankles like a soft embrace, banishing the chill that lingers in the stone floor. All movement here is measured, paced to mirror the evening breaths that deepen in the growing hush. Above the hearth, lantern light dances across shelves lined with small wooden boxes and earthenware jars. Each holds its own remedy pouches of dried lavender, bunches of rosemary tied with twine, small bottles containing tinctures of lemon balm, mint, and milder herbs. Among them lies valerian root, known for its earthy aroma and soothing qualities. Though the herb was sometimes associated with unusual folklore, by nightfall, Its familiar scent brings reassurance rather than whimsy. A cup is set atop the table, and the herbalist, perhaps a wise woman or a cloistered nun, gently pours boiling water over a blend of chamomile, mint, and valerian. The steam curls upward in slow spirals, carrying scents that fill the room yet remain soft, never harsh. A mild, clear color swirls in the cup as it brews a quiet promise of restful sleep. All around, the house settles. The loud click of shutters being latched, the soft scraping of sandals as they slipped off, the rustle of flax being spun in a distant corner. All of these small sounds blend into a lullaby of domestic life, closing out the day. The nightcap, perhaps a pointed woolen cap for a man, or a long cloth for a woman, is drawn from a basket. It's pulled over hair that's been brushed or washed, snuggling over ears and nape to preserve the warmth of the head, believed by many to guard both posture and health during cold medieval nights. This cap is not a fashion statement, but a simple comfort, a small barrier against drafts, a guardian of restful quiet. On wooden floorboards, small sachets lie tucked near pillows, linen bags filled with lavender or rosemary, and sometimes rue or sweet flag. These have been woven and filled by household hands or by a grandmother's careful fingers, each stitch infused with love and gentle wishes for safe slumber. As sleepers shift, the sachets release a soft scent that wraps around them like a second layer of bedding. Lavender cleanses the spirit, as it was said, while rosemary was thought to hold back bad dreams. Rue and milkmaid's rosemary, though lesser known, had their own associations with clarity and calm. None of this is written in harsh scripts or proclaimed in grand declarations. It is a quiet tradition, passed down with the hush of candlelight and the closeness of shared rooms. In the hush between first sleep and second, when waking naturally in the dark, there are those few minutes, so many fleeting seconds that feel suspended. Some choose to sip their evening tea again, a gentle draught of lemon balm to soothe the throat, or a few drops of valerian tincture taken discreetly beneath the tongue. Valerian's roots, earthy and pungent, were believed to carry a sedative warmth, a gift from the earth itself, encouraging nerves to loosen and thoughts to slow. Well, after the first hush of sleep, this sip could coax the mind gently back toward dream stillness rather than full wakefulness. Cloistered herbalists might have prepared it under glass lamps, while in country homes it was steeped by a mother's hearth fire. For all its reputation, valerian was treated with respect, not used hastily or in excess, but in measured amounts, part of a careful dialogue between nature and night. Soft rustling may be heard now, as a father reaches for a warm bottle of wine, scented with honeyed herbs, to soothe a mild ache or to guard against the night's chill. He takes a small sip, and the warmth spreads through his chest. It is not a boon for revelry, but a balm for quiet age and tired bones, made carefully with rose hips or a pinch of rosemary, steeped and cooled to just the right warmth before being poured into a wooden tankard. The draught is not taken for merriment, but for method past midnight. It is believed that such a draught keeps the cold from settling too near the heart. As the household drifts towards second sleep, many reach for personal tokens, small devotional books with softly inscribed prayers, tiny carved crucifixes, or anointing oil scented faintly with frankincense and myrrh. Some might trace a cross upon their own forehead. Others might anoint their pillow's corner. These are not traumatic acts, but slow, partly whispered acknowledgments of peace, tokens of calm as waking and sleeping dance together. In more austere dwellings, monastic infirmaries, or secluded sister cells, the same gentle rituals take shape. A monk might rise for the midnight office, but upon its end, he too returns to a narrow cot with a nightcap drawn tightly and a soft draught of mint tea prepared earlier. The stone floor beneath his bed is cold, so a heated brick wrapped in cloth lies beneath his blanket, a small concession to physical rest, which does not disturb spiritual vigilance. Candles burning low, some gutters extinguished before first sleep. In their stead, moonlight filters through narrow slits or latticed windows, silver shafts that fall across rough wooden floors, soft and impartial. In that moonlight, sachets, nightcaps, warmers, herbal cups, and devotional tokens all lie bathed in a hushed glow that binds them together in silent company. The world is deep, and sleep's invitation is profound. A gradual descent into deeper rest, guided by centuries of quiet practice. Outside, the weather may shift, the wind sighs, or an occasional breeze carries the scent of earth or bloom. But inside there is stillness shaped by choice. No roaring fire, no loud farewells, but a calm tempo broken only by breath. In this space, the body leans into warmth, the mind leans into scent, the soul leans into memory and ritual. The night becomes a tapestry of gentle comfort and thoughtful gestures, each herb and each stitch carrying layered meaning of hearth, of health, of home. Throughout the night, these small bedside preparations gently hum in the background of life. The sachet releases its scent, the stone warmer eases its glow, the nightcap keeps snug, the empty cups hold echoes of herbal warmth. In this quiet architecture of rest, medieval people once composed an environment so softly tuned that the difference between wakefulness and dreaming was scarcely perceptible. As the sky hints at dawn and the second sleep deepens, the household sleeps softly, securely, attuned to this ancient melody. The scents linger. The warmth remains. Even the nightcap holds its place until morning redistributes it. When at last the day arrives, these tools left untouched sit in silent testament to the night's care. A bowl, a sachet, a cold brick, a nightcap, all waiting to be used again come dusk. And so, within these gentle rituals of medieval sleep, these herbs, these warm stones, these caps and cups and quiet prayers, lies a tender invitation. Restful slumber is not merely the absence of waking, but a space shaped by intention, tradition, and sensory comfort. When we settle tonight in our own beds, we may do well to remember that sleep is sacred, and that something as simple as lavender or valerian, nightcaps and warm stones, can cradle us into peace. May your own night be shaped by such calm rituals, letting gentle scents surround you. Soft warmth rest beneath you, and steady breath guide you back into dream. Now, dear friend, as this softly woven tale of medieval nights draws toward its rest, allow your mind to linger in the hush of ancient darkness, warmed by candles' glow and herbal promise. Breathe slowly, from the crown of your head down to your toes, as though inhaling the gentle scent of lavender carried on a night breeze through thatched roof and open shutter. Nothing matters beyond this moment. Let the fine threads of medieval rituals settle around you like a snug cloak. Picture again the small clay pot of valerian tincture, its amber contents shimmering in candlelight, an elixir carried forward from Greek and Roman memory into a medieval cottage and cloister, crafted by hands that believed in its tranquil gift. That same tradition, stretched across centuries, offered comfort to weary heads. Think of its herbal warmth, neither harsh nor chemical, but soft, earth-born relief. Just as medieval souls discovered solace in its root, let your own breath settle into its calming pattern, quieting thoughts and inviting gentle drift. A nightcap now lies softly atop your pillow, its wool or linen fibers edged with care and quiet. It is a small gesture, yet its intention is vast. To hold warmth near your mind, shielding you from stray drafts and lingering wakefulness. Let that sense of protection echo inside you, a tender reassurance. The world beyond has slowed. You are safe here. A sachet of rosemary and lavender rests unseen near your ear, releasing the lull of centuries-old comfort. Lavender whispers of memory's soft clarity. Rosemary of restful wisdom. These plants held no magic beyond their calm, yet in ritual, they became touchstones of home and peace. Let the scent weave background harmony as your heartbeat slows to its own pure melody. In the silence that lies between first sleep and second, the watch, medieval dwellers sometimes stirred, not with panic, but with purposeful calmness. Some whispered prayers, others sipped a mild herbal tea. Some offered soft words to a nearby companion. Their night was not broken, it was extended, enriched by intention. And now, in your own watchful moments, if they come, let them be met not with restlessness, but with the same gentle remembrance. You are returning to rest. Should you wake, lie quietly. If it feels right, breathe slowly, sink further into blankets. Let the aroma of herbs guide you back. Beyond the window, stars may be shining, a steady, ancient chorus in the sky. Medieval minds looked up through narrow lattice and saw the same constellations, perhaps lingering in thought as they lay between sleeps. Let your awareness drift upward, beyond worry, beyond day. That wide sky is stillness too. The pottery cup of chamomile or mint now empty, yet its warmth lingers in the hands that held it. These liquids ease tensions in medieval hearts, just as they ease yours. Recall the slow swirl of steam, the muted clink of wooden spoon. Remember that every sip was a choice toward calm, and so is every breath you take now toward rest. Time itself felt softer in that era. Clocks did not insist upon rhythm. Hours were measured by candles burned, by watchman's call, by the bird's first song at dawn. In this slower world, people slept twice, spoke softly, and awoke without urgency. Let that freedom hold you now. No deadlines, no hurry, only the gentle now. You may imagine the flicker of a wick, slowly consumed, its light giving way to night and then moonbeam. That flame, once extinguished, leaves space for stillness. Let your own inner candle burn low, relinquishing its flame to the calm. You have listened, you have breathed, you have accepted simple comforts, as medieval souls did before you. In doing so, you have honored sleep itself. The stone-warmed bricks beneath beds in humble cottages, beneath abbey cots in silent halls, they held warmth as kindness, slow and even. That warmth is your own. It rises from beneath your body, supporting you as you recline, enfolding you as the earth holds seeds. Let the sensation of safety and earthbound calm fill you now. You are part of a lineage of rest song composed by farmers, by weavers, by those who first tied ropes across wooden frames and whispered sleep tight between timber, as knowing that rope beds required tight cords. You are part of that harmony. Let it settle into your bones, into each breath. Perhaps you rest with companions in a shared bed, those you love or dreams of them. Medieval families, inns, castles all slept communally for warmth and kinship. Even in solitude, there was solace in shared breath. If you are alone, imagine invisible company-kind ghosts of belonging. If you lie beside another, feel their quiet breathing, a lullaby of kin. This is the inner company we all share when we sleep. Now, as second sleep deepens, let speech soften. Let the current of consciousness slow its flow. Let each sentence in this final moment be a lullaby. May your heart find ease. May your dreams be gentle. May your waking be calm. Let your mind drift downward, as though floating in water tinted soft by moonlight. No resistance, no currents. Land only when it wants. Rest only in comfort. Feel the weight of blankets as a river carries you to unknown shores. Your breathing invites you to drift further. Let it complete its cycle, again and again, until body and mind surrender to trust. In medieval belief, nighttime was a sacred pause, a dialogue with nature, with spirit, with self. They honored the pause with small acts, herbal drafts, nightcap, prayer, shared warmth. You have honored it too. Let every soft ritual you've heard this evening strengthen this sacred pause between wakefulness and dreaming. There is no more to say. The spoken word gives way to silence. The medieval night itself disappears into why we embrace it. Peace, absence of burden, joining of rest. Here, in this moment, your journey ends not with fanfare, but with quiet breath. So, from this corner of history and warmth, I say, good night. May your first sleep be sweet, dream-laced, untroubled. Should the watch visit, greet it with calm. May your second sleep bring richness, a weaving of images, of smells, of soft peace. When the dawn arrives, may your waking be gentle, renewed, brimming with the same serenity we've carried together tonight. Good night, dear friend. The medieval night enfolds you. You are safe. You are peaceful. You are home.